My name is Besart and I'm a delegate from Albania. The solution that I will be dealing with is a target, actually. It's target SDG 4.B. The target aims at increasing the number and access of scholarships. It's that target over there, 4.B, to expand globally the number of scholarships available to developing countries, in particular, least developing states in Africa, etc. When I first saw this target, I was so happy because I had been doing this since 10th grade. I'd been scholarship consulting students in Albania on how to get scholarships to international boarding high schools, which offered scholarships. I know that many of you here come from developing countries like I do, and you know that you don't know about these scholarships, either in high school or university. And when I saw this target, I was so happy. I was like, that they put it over there. Because this target seems like something that you're surprised when you hear that there is no system out there which gives scholarships to students from developing countries, deserving students, students who have the academic potential, who have every potential, but they just don't have the information. Therefore, that's how I got the idea of the international scholarship effort, a system in which incorporates the main Western scholarship offering institutions. So that would necessarily be the US top schools, which give, according to US news, they give more than $570,000 per year on scholarships to international students. And yet you have international boarding schools in the US and in Switzerland, where I graduated myself on a full scholarship, which have, they don't have representation from every country. So you have, for example, Phillips Andover. It's a very famous school in the US. Phillips Andover gives $20 million per year to scholarships, yet out of 196 countries, there are only 45 represented. And then you have bigger scale academic institutions like Yale University, where they give something like, they give $120 million per year on scholarships, 12,000 students, and yet 51 countries are not represented in their student body. And these universities, these academic institutions, they make a yearly effort to get students from developing countries and increase representation, but there is an absence of like an international collaboration, and SDG 17, to get all these universities, all these institutions to cooperate in order to get unrepresented countries in their institutions to study. And the impact that a student from a very developing country has when they go to these universities is going to be huge, because developing countries like Albania, they're like tight communities. Things go around. Like you hear that the son of your neighbor went to like America on full scholarship. You're going to want to know how you can do the same for your children. So to talk in terms of practice, the problem here is that the applications to the US schools or Western institutions in general are exclusive since the moment of when the application starts. They assume that the applicant is going to have something simple like a college counselor. The position of college counselor, students here from developing countries knows that does not exist. That's not a thing. You should have teachers who can give you nice recommendations in English. That also doesn't exist. And if you go to very poor countries, you assume that you have internet to know what Common App and to know what UCAS is in the beginning. And many students from developing countries do not have internet or that access to do that individual research. So those are the problems, that the applications are exclusive since the first moment that the students try to apply. How I thought about this in practical terms, how this gap between representation and universities and high schools wanting to get students from developing countries could be closed, is through a collaboration between, the UN's SDSN, which has to do the mobilization and has to foster this collaboration. The universities, the main universities which give scholarships, and high schools which give scholarships, and national governments. If these three different factors collaborate together, we can have students go to these schools on scholarships. We can find this, we can have active recruitment of these students. I was thinking how international scholarship effort can hold a yearly fair where they can think about the main obstacles and how to tackle them. And they can also have national fairs in developing countries where they notify students, teachers, and families how they can prepare their students for excellent education in Western institutions and how they can get prepared for the academic rigor in terms of starting very early. Some of the main problems of this idea and how I think to tackle them is, well, there's the argument that the students will not be able to handle the academic rigor. I went to Madagascar. It's the 6th poorest country in the world, and I met some of the smartest students studying computer science, and there was this kid, Cedric, who had passed 3 grades and self-taught himself English. So I think that argument just goes away. And then there's the argument of brain drain, that you're getting the smartest people out of these countries, taking them abroad. How are you going to make them come back? Reality is that many smart people, brain drain is a thing in Albania and other developing countries. It's still occurring. But if you give them a system, if there's an international organization which deals with this, you're gonna create a network of these people. They're gonna know each other, and they can cooperate in the future, because national governments are going to be part of this initiative. So the governments too will know who their most able people are and where they're studying, what they're studying, and they can contact them in the future, ideally to have their intellectual leaders come and cooperate in their countries. So that's the international scholarship effort idea. Thank you.